Okay, so get this. You can now type in words, any words, and this AI from Meta will generate a short film for you. We're not talking about those slideshows with stock footage. We're talking actual generated videos with synchronized audio.
Wow.
It's called MovieGen. And today, we're taking a deep dive into how it works and what it means for the future of, well, everything.
What's really interesting here is the sheer scale of what Meta has achieved. It's not just one AI model, but an entire ecosystem all working together.
Right.
Imagine a film crew where each member is an AI specializing in a specific task.
Oh, okay.
That's essentially what's happening here.
So no more arguing with the director about close-ups then.
Well, we'll see.
From what I've seen, MovieGen is already creating some seriously impressive stuff, and it's only going to get better. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's rewind a bit. We're talking about AI that understands camera angles, lighting, even physics to create these videos.
Yeah.
How does that even work?
Imagine feeding an AI millions of videos and hours of audio.
Okay.
That's the foundation of MovieGen. They've got these two powerhouse models, MovieGenVideo for the visuals,
Okay.
and MovieGen Audio for, you guessed it, the sound.
Right.
And these models have been trained on such a massive scale that they've essentially learned how the world looks and sounds.
Okay, let's unpack this learning thing for a second. Are we saying they just showed the AI a bunch of movies and figured out how to make its own?
It's more nuanced than that, of course. Think of it this way. Instead of traditional programming where you write specific instructions for every scenario, these AI models use something called machine learning.
Okay.
They analyze massive data sets,
Right.
in this case, tons of video and audio, to identify patterns and relationships. This allows them to generate new content that reflects those learned patterns.
It's like showing someone 1,000 paintings, and then they pick up a brush and start creating their own style based on what they've observed.
That's a great analogy, but instead of brush strokes, we're talking about pixels, sound waves, and incredibly complex algorithms. And this is where things get really interesting with MovieGen. They've incorporated something called transformers into their models.
Transformers.
Yeah.
Like the robots that turn into cars. Are we about to fight Megatron with this AI?
Not quite, but I love your enthusiasm. Transformers, in this context, are a type of AI architecture that's especially good at understanding and processing sequential data, like the frames in a video or the notes in music. They help the AI make connections between different elements and understand the flow of information over time.
Okay, so it's not about robots smashing into each other. But it's still mind-blowing that these AI models can take in all this data and actually create something coherent, let alone visually stunning. But what about the editing process? It's not just about throwing a bunch of cool visuals together. How does MovieGen handle that aspect of filmmaking?
You've hit on a crucial point. MovieGen doesn't just generate random visuals, it understands how to structure them into a narrative.
Right.
Remember those millions of videos they used for training? Well, part of that training involved teaching the AI to unedit.
Unedit. That sounds kind of counterintuitive, doesn't it?
It might seem that way, but it's actually brilliant. By learning to reverse engineer the editing process, breaking down existing videos into their individual components, the AI gains a deep understanding of how different cuts, transitions, and effects work together to create a final product. It's like learning to cook by first taking apart a perfectly crafted dish.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all comes together. So MovieGen learns by both watching and deconstructing countless hours of video. But what sets it apart from other AI video generators? We've all seen those deepfake videos online, and honestly, some of them are a bit creepy.
That's a fair point. One of the things that makes MovieGen so remarkable is its ability to handle personalization without veering into the uncanny valley. It's not just about swapping faces, it's about understanding and maintaining someone's unique identity within a video.
So you're telling me I could star in my own action movie without ever leaving my couch? I'll admit, that's pretty tempting.
Imagine the possibilities. Personalized educational videos where you're the teacher, custom fitness routines with you as the instructor.
Or how about personalized music videos? Wait a minute. We haven't even talked about the audio aspect of MovieGen yet.
You're right, we've gotten ahead of ourselves. And trust me, the audio capabilities of MovieGen are just as impressive as the visuals, but we'll dive into that right after.
All right, so we've covered the visual wizardry of MovieGen, but what about the soundscape? Because a movie without sound is like a concert on mute. Technically impressive.
Yeah.
But missing something pretty crucial.
Absolutely. And just like they developed MovieGenVideo for the visuals, Meta has created a separate model specifically for audio, MovieGen Audio.
Oh, so they're not just slapping on some generic elevator music.
Definitely not. We're talking about a model trained on millions of hours of audio, everything from the subtle chirping of crickets to the roar of a jet engine.
Wow.
It can generate incredibly realistic and contextually relevant sound effects.
So if I type in a blue emu swimming through the ocean, it wouldn't just show me the emu.
Right.
It would also create the sound of waves crashing and the emus, like little emu feet paddling.
Precisely. It can even generate original music to match the mood and pacing of the scene.
Wow.
Remember how we talked about transformers being used for understanding sequences?
Yeah.
That's crucial for the audio side as well. MovieGen Audio uses them to understand the timing and emotional arc of a scene, so it can compose a soundtrack that ebbs and flows with the action.
Wow. I'm already imagining the epic score for my emu swimming adventure. But seriously, this is taking things to a whole new level.
It really is. And remember how we discussed MovieGen's personalization capabilities on the visual side?
Yeah.
Well, get ready for this. MovieGen Audio can do the same thing with sound.
Wait, hold on. You're telling me this AI can create personalized sound effects? Like, using my voice?
You got it.
Whoa.
Imagine generating sound effects that are uniquely yours. Your laugh is a whimsical chime, your voice as the rumble of a distant spaceship.
Okay, now that's just cool. It's like having a soundboard that's been designed specifically for you.
And the applications are endless. Imagine personalized audiobooks where the narrator sounds exactly like you, or interactive video games with sound effects tailored to your voice.
This is blowing my mind. It's incredible to think how far this technology has come in such a short time.
It really is a testament to the pace of innovation in AI. But there's another aspect we haven't touched upon yet, the challenge of creating longer form content.
Yeah.
Right now, MovieGen excels at generating short, impactful videos. But what about something like a full-length movie?
Yeah, I'm curious about that too. Is that even possible with this technology?
It's definitely a much bigger challenge.
Yeah.
Think about it. A feature film requires a cohesive storyline, character development, pacing, and emotional arcs that span hours. It's a complex dance that even human filmmakers sometimes struggle with.
Right. Yeah. So are you saying we won't be seeing an AI-directed blockbuster anytime soon?
Not necessarily. While the technology isn't quite there yet,
Yeah.
the progress being made is remarkable. One of the biggest hurdles is teaching AI to understand and replicate the nuances of human storytelling. Things like subtext, character motivation, and emotional resonance.
That makes sense. A movie is more than just a series of visually appealing scenes. It needs that human element to truly connect with an audience.
Exactly. But who knows what the future holds? AI is constantly learning and evolving. We may yet see the day when AI can craft narratives that rival those of the greatest human storytellers.
Okay, so maybe we're not quite ready for AI to take over Hollywood just yet, but this MovieGen thing is clearly a game changer, even in its current form. It's like putting a mini film studio in the hands of anyone with a keyboard.
It's incredibly democratizing, and that's something we haven't even fully explored yet.
Right.
The potential for education, entertainment, even just everyday communication is immense.
It really is mind-blowing. But before we get too caught up in all the possibilities, I think it's time to bring this back down to earth a little. We've been so focused on the how of MovieGen, but we haven't really talked about the why. As in, why should people care? What's the big takeaway here? So we've traveled down this rabbit hole of AI-generated movie magic.
Yeah.
But I think the real question is, what does it all mean? Why should anyone listening care about this?
Yeah, that's the core of it, isn't it? We often get caught up in the wow factor of new technology, but the true impact comes from understanding how it changes our lives, our work, our understanding of the world.
Okay, so let's break it down. We've got AI that can make movies from text prompts, personalize them with our faces and voices, even compose music. Where does that leave actual human filmmakers, musicians, artists?
It's a question that's on a lot of people's minds, and rightfully so, but instead of viewing it as a competition, what if we considered it a collaboration?
A collaboration, like humans and AI working together to create art.
Exactly. Imagine a world where filmmakers can use AI to prototype ideas, experiment with different visual styles, or even automate tedious tasks like rotoscoping. It frees up their time and energy to focus on the heart of storytelling, crafting compelling narratives, developing characters, and evoking emotions.
So instead of replacing human creativity, AI tools like MovieGen actually enhance it.
Precisely. Think of it like the transition from traditional animation to computer animation.
Right.
It didn't make animators obsolete. It gave them new tools to create even more ambitious and visually stunning works of art.
I'm starting to see it now. It's not about humans versus machines. It's about finding ways to leverage these powerful technologies to tell better stories, share information in more engaging ways, and even connect with each other on a deeper level.
You've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
And that's not limited to just the realm of professional filmmaking. Think about education.
Yeah.
Imagine students creating their own animated videos to explain complex concepts or using personalized sound effects to bring history to life. Or think about small businesses using AI to create professional quality marketing materials without breaking the bank.
It's like giving everyone a superpower, the power to bring their ideas to life in ways that were previously unimaginable.
And that's just scratching the surface. As AI continues to evolve, who knows what other creative possibilities will emerge? Perhaps we'll see AI-powered interactive narratives that adapt to the viewer's choices or virtual worlds that blur the line between reality and imagination.
This has been quite a journey, from the technical nuts and bolts of how MovieGen works to these mind-bending possibilities of AI and creativity.
We've covered a lot of ground, that's for sure. But if there's one thing I hope you take away from this deep dive, it's that the future of creativity isn't about replacing humans. It's about augmenting our abilities and expanding the canvas of what's possible.
Well said. And on that note, we'll leave you with a final thought to ponder. If AI can help us tell stories, what stories will we choose to tell? And how will those stories shape the world we create together, both humans and machines?
All right, so get this. We're talking AI videos today, but not those kind of janky, blurry ones you've seen floating around. This is different.
Yeah, this is next level.
Meta's calling it MovieGen, and it's seriously like they gave AI a crash course in filmmaking.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
We're talking high-def videos, sound effects, you name it.
The works. You can even, like, stick yourself into the action.
Okay, hold on. You're saying I can be the star of my own AI-generated action movie?
Pretty much.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Okay.
So back to the tech for a second. It's not just one AI doing all this, right? Meta keeps mentioning a cast of models sounds like a Hollywood premiere.
It's a good analogy. Think of it like a movie set. You've got your stars, right? In MovieGen's case, those are MovieGenVideo and MovieGenaudio.
Okay, so lay it on me. Who are these AI A-listers?
So MovieGenVideo, that's your visual whiz. It handles all the visuals, and it's been trained on this insane library of videos and images. Think billions with a B.
Whoa. Like giving an AI a billion times the film school education of Spielberg or something.
Something like that, yeah. Basically, they force-fed this AI all this visual data so it could learn how things move, the physics of it all, even things like how to frame a shot.
Okay, my mind is already a little blown. But there's more, right? What about the sound? That's got to be important for a movie.
Right. That's where MovieGenAudio comes in. It's the sound engineer of the operation, handling everything from, like, realistic sound effects to music, all perfectly timed to the video.
So it's like composing a score on the fly.
You got it.
Okay, that's seriously impressive. But hold on, there was something you said earlier about how MovieGenVideo was trained on a massive amount of data. That's key, right?
100%.
Right.
Like, data is everything in AI. It's like the food that fuels the whole thing.
So we're talking about more than just a few cat videos here.
Oh, way more. I mean, obviously there are cat videos in there.
Of course.
But we're talking about millions of video clips, billions of images, all carefully chosen to give it a deep understanding of how the visual world works.
But how do you even begin to teach an AI using all that data? It's not like you can just show it a cat video and expect it to make Citizen Kane, or can you?
That's where things get really cool. You're right, it's not as simple as just showing it a bunch of random videos. They had to be super strategic about the data, like making sure it was high quality and diverse. They even used AI to help them filter through it all.
Whoa, AI all the way down. Okay, so what kind of stuff were they looking for in this massive data set?
All sorts of things. For starters, they wanted videos with lots of action and movement, because that's more interesting for an AI to learn from.
Makes sense. Keep going.
They also toss out anything that was too blurry or low resolution. I mean, nobody wants to watch a pixelated masterpiece.
Definitely not. But what else?
Okay, so this is where it gets kind of sneaky. They actually used AI to filter out videos that just weren't aesthetically pleasing.
Wait, what? Explain that to me.
Like, they wanted to weed out things like shaky camera work or bad lighting.
Yeah.
Basically, they had an AI film critic deciding what was worth watching.
That's both hilarious and slightly terrifying. Like, we're giving AI opinions about art now.
It is kind of wild, right? But okay, so now they've got this massive, perfectly curated library of amazing visual data. But how do they get the AI to actually understand what's happening in these videos?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Captions.
Captions.
They used another AI, this one's called Llama 3 Video, to create these incredibly detailed descriptions of every single clip. Like, imagine those audio descriptions for the visually impaired, but on steroids.
So it's like they're teaching the AI to see in a whole new way by pairing the images with language.
Exactly. It's about giving the AI this deeper, more nuanced understanding of what it's seeing. It's not just copying what it's seen before, it's learning to create something new.
Okay, that is seriously cool. But let's talk about the whole you in the movie thing, because honestly, I'm still stuck on that. You're telling me this AI can recognize my face and then realistically put me into different scenes. That just sounds like black magic.
It's all about how they train it. It's actually really interesting. They made this whole other AI that basically eats, sleeps, and breathes faces. They trained it on tons of pictures.
Okay, but how does it know it's me? Like, does it just paste my face onto a random body? Because, no offense to my body, but I don't think that's going to look very convincing.
It's way more sophisticated than that. They trained it on images of individuals that were pulled from different videos. So it's not just recognizing your face. It's learning how you move and express yourself.
So it's learning my mannerisms, how I move my hands when I talk, all of that.
You got it. It's like it's studying you, figuring out what makes you, well, you. Then it uses that knowledge to realistically insert you into different situations.
Okay, so you're saying this AI could make me like an action hero. I gotta be honest, that's kind of tempting. But seriously though, this personalization thing, it's not just about entertainment, right? There are some pretty big implications here. Like, imagine using this in education. Kids could literally step into historical events or explore different careers all through these AI-generated videos.
Exactly. And it's not just education. Think about things like virtual therapy sessions where you're interacting with an AI that can respond to your emotions, or personalized language lessons with AI characters.
Wow. We went from action heroes to virtual therapists pretty quickly there. This technology really making my head spin. But speaking of things that make my head spin, let's talk about video editing, because as someone who once spent an entire weekend trying to edit a 5-minute vacation video, I am very, very interested in this MovieGen thing.
Oh yeah, editing can be brutal. It's definitely labor of love. That's where Meta got really creative, because there's actually not a lot of data out there specifically for training an AI to edit videos.
So what did they do? How do you even teach an AI to be a good editor? Did they make it watch like every Best Picture winner back to back?
Kind of. They actually started with image editing, since there's way more data for that. Like every time someone edits a picture on their phone, that's data.
Oh, that's smart. So they're basically starting with the basics.
Exactly. They trained the AI to edit images, but each image was treated like a single frame of a video.
Okay, so baby steps. But how do you go from editing one frame to like a whole scene?
They started giving the AI these like editing puzzles, almost like training exercises.
Like what?
One of the tasks was getting the AI to animate still images. So imagine showing it the Mona Lisa and asking it to make her smile.
Okay, that's kind of creepy, but also really cool.
Right. Another task was giving it a black and white video and asking it to color in specific objects.
So they're basically training it like you would a human editor. Start with the fundamentals, then get progressively more advanced.
Exactly. But then, and this is where it gets really wild, they use this technique called back translation. It's like meta, even for AI.
All right, you're going to have to break this down for me. Back translation sounds intense.
Basically, they showed the AI a video that was already edited. You know, like a cat sitting on a table, and then suddenly it's a dog on a chair or whatever.
Not following so far.
Okay, so then the AI has to figure out all the editing steps in reverse. It's like learning how to cook by unmaking a sandwich.
That's kind of brilliant, actually. So they're teaching the AI to edit by making it think backward.
Yeah, and somehow it worked. They combined these AI-generated editing puzzles with real-world editing examples and somehow managed to, like, bootstrap a whole video editing system.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. But, you know, this whole discussion about training and data, it makes you wonder, how do you even begin to judge the quality of an AI-generated video? Like, what's a good AI video versus a bad one?
Yeah, and that's the million-dollar question, right? How do you compare an AI video to, you know, a Spielberg film?
Yeah, or even just to another AI-generated video.
Exactly. There's so many factors to consider. So Meta created this whole benchmark called MovieGenVideo Bench, basically to test out MovieGen and see what it could do.
Okay, so like an AI obstacle course.
Kind of. It had 1,000 different prompts covering everything from basic physics to, like, more abstract concepts in human behavior. They want to see if it could handle all sorts of different scenarios.
So they're really putting it through its paces. But then how do you actually judge if it's doing a good job? Like, what makes an AI-generated video good?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting. They actually had human experts evaluate the videos.
Okay, so there are humans involved in this process somewhere. I was starting to wonder.
They had experts look at things like how well the video matched the prompt, the overall quality, how realistic it seemed, even how aesthetically pleasing it was.
See, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, how do you program aesthetically pleasing into an AI? Isn't that totally subjective? One person's Citizen Kane is another person's Sharknado?
You're not wrong. But they tried to be as objective as possible. They had multiple experts review each video and use specific criteria to make it more consistent. It wasn't a perfect system, but, I mean, judging art is always going to be subjective to some extent, right?
That's true. Okay, so we've talked about the visuals, the editing, the whole you and the movie thing. What about the music? Because no movie is complete without a killer soundtrack, am I right?
Oh, absolutely. And Meta knows that. They actually put a ton of effort into making sure MovieGen could create realistic and, well, good-sounding music.
Okay, so spill the tea. What's the secret sauce behind AI-generated film scores?
You're going to be surprised. Data.
Data, data, data. It always comes back to the data, doesn't it?
It really does. For this one, they trained MovieGen audio on over 1 million hours of audio. Like, you would have to listen to music nonstop for over 100 years to match that.
Okay, now I'm just jealous. That's more music than any human has ever listened to, probably. But how do you even begin to teach an AI about something as subjective as music?
That's where it gets really interesting. They didn't just feed it like, random sounds. It's all about being intentional with what you train the AI on, right? So they used a massive data set of film scores, specifically thousands of hours of professionally composed, high-quality audio.
Ah, so they're giving it a crash course in the good stuff. None of that elevator music, huh?
Exactly. Like, think Hans Zimmer, John Williams, the greats. They want to make sure MovieGen audio understood, like, the nuances, what makes a soundtrack epic, emotional, whatever the vibe is.
Right. It's got to evoke something in the listener, just like a good film score should. But what about sound effects? I mean, music is one thing, but what about those realistic Foley sounds?
So they thought of that too. They trained it on a whole library of, like, everyday sound effects, footsteps, doors slamming, you name it.
So basically all the sounds a Foley artist would create.
Exactly. But here's a really cool part. It doesn't just, like, replay those sounds. It can actually modify them, combine them in different ways to, like, perfectly match what's happening on screen. It's pretty wild.
This is some seriously next level stuff.
Yeah.
So you're telling me this AI can basically compose a custom soundtrack, complete with realistic sound effects, all perfectly synced to whatever video it's creating. This is blowing my mind a little bit.
I know, right? It's like having a whole film crew, composer, sound designer all rolled into one. And it all comes down to, really smart people who know how to train AI.
And enough data to make your head spin. Seriously, though, this technology is incredible, but it also kind of freaks me out a little. Like, if AI can create videos this realistic, how do we even know it's real anymore?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're really stepping into this weird world where seeing is no longer believing.
Yeah.
And it's not just about, like, deep fakes or whatever. It makes you think about the very nature of creativity, right? If an AI can make a movie, what does that even mean for us?
It's a lot to process. Honestly, every time I think I'm starting to understand AI, it's like they move the goalposts again.
It changes fast, that's for sure. But that's the fun part, too. I mean, this technology has the potential to revolutionize so many industries, from filmmaking to education to, well, pretty much everything.
It's true. The possibilities really are endless, but it's also a huge responsibility.
100%. I mean, this technology is powerful. And like any powerful tool, it can be used for good or bad.
Well said. And you know what? I think that's a good place to leave it for today. We've covered a ton of ground, from the mind-blowing technical details to the bigger philosophical questions this technology raises. I don't have all the answers, but I do know one thing: this conversation is just getting started. So until next time, keep asking those big questions. And remember, the future of AI isn't written in stone. It's up to all of us to shape it. All right, so you sent this research paper about this MovieGen thing, and it's AI that makes movies, but it's not like like the AI that makes like slideshows with music. This is like high-definition videos with, like, the sound effects and the music and everything, and it's all from text prompts.
Yeah, it's wild.
Like I was saying at the beginning, one of the ones that really stood out to me was, like, a blue emu swimming in the ocean. It's not like it just took, like a nature documentary and then, like, cut out the background, like, pasted it. Like, it's
actually, like,
the game.
Yeah, this is actually different. This is really getting into generating video. So it's not just about taking existing video, manipulating it. It's actually synthesizing it from scratch.
Well, so how does it do that?
So basically what they've done is they've created this suite of tools. And it's not just one thing. That's doing everything. There's actually like a whole family of models that work together. So you have like MovieGenVideo, which is like the text to video. Then you've got MovieGenAudio, which does all the sound effects and the music. And then they even have things like personalized MovieGenVideo, which can take like your face and like realistically composite it into a scene.
Wow.
So it's like insert yourself into the action movie, but like for real.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I'm already starting to get a little bit of a headache just trying to wrap my brain around how this works. So they're using these things called media foundation models.
Yeah.
And it's trained on this massive data set, and they were throwing around this number, 30 billion parameters.
Yeah, that's a big number.
What does it even mean?
Yeah, so like you can think of it like this. Imagine a brain. But instead of it being the size of like a cantaloupe, it's the size of a small planet. That's essentially what those 30 billion parameters represent. They're like the little brain cells of this AI that allow it to process information and learn incredibly complex patterns from tons of images and videos. And that's how it's able to kind of like understand things like how objects move, how they interact, even how physics work in a scene in order to be able to create a believable video from scratch. It's like teaching a computer to see and interpret the world, just like we do.
So it's not just copying and pasting clips together. It's actually learning the fundamental rules of how the world looks and moves.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not just about like stitching together what it's seen before. It can actually imagine new scenarios and create original footage based on your prompts.
Okay, that's kind of blowing my mind. But how? How do they even begin to build something this complex?
So they break down this massive task into smaller, more manageable parts. Kind of like an assembly line for AI.
Okay.
And one of the key components of this is something called a Temporal Autoencoder, or TAE for short.
Okay. Temporal Autoencoder. Is there a way to explain that to me without all the technical jargon?
Yeah, so imagine you have a whole movie, and you want to shrink it down to the size of a thumbnail, but then you need to be able to perfectly blow it back up to full size without losing any detail. That's essentially what the TAE does. It compresses the visual information super efficiently, which is crucial when you're dealing with just the sheer amount of data needed to train these AI models.
So it's like the ultimate video compression algorithm.
Pretty much.
Sign me up. But that just sounds incredibly difficult.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
And they actually ran into a few snags along the way. They talk about this spot artifact problem, where the TAE would sometimes create these weird blurry spots in the video.
Oh, really?
So imagine watching a movie where random things keep blurring out. Not ideal.
Yeah.
No.
I would be returning that to the store. Defective.
Right.
So how did they get around that?
So they had to get creative with the training process, tweaking things until they ironed out those pesky spots. It's like fine-tuning a musical instrument. Sometimes you need to make these tiny adjustments to get the perfect sound.
Okay. So now we've got our video compressed and decompressed like a zip file. But like, okay, so the video's compressed. Now we got to like tell it what to make.
Right.
So like, how does it go from like me typing in a cat riding a unicycle on the moon? How does that turn into a video?
Yeah. So that's where this thing called the transformer backbone comes in. And this is like the brains of the operation. You know how we've been hearing about all these large language models that can like write poems and whole conversations? This is built on similar technology.
Okay.
It's how MovieGen can actually like read and understand your text prompt.
Right.
And then figure out, okay, what objects are involved, what actions are happening, and how it all fits together visually.
So they're like taking like the power of language, AI, and applying it to video.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool. Okay, what about like picture quality?
Okay.
Because like I've messed around with some of those AI image generators, and sometimes like the hands look like claws, or like things are blurry. What about MovieGen?
So after the video is generated, it actually goes through something called a spatial upscaler, which is basically like taking blurry security camera footage and making it like crystal clear.
Okay.
So it sharpens details, smooths out any rough edges,
and
makes sure that final video is like crisp high definition.
Okay, but does that, like, I'm imagining blowing up a video like that. That could make it choppy, like an old stop-motion animation.
Yeah, so to get around that, they use something called multi-diffusion.
Yeah.
And without getting too technical, it's basically like adding extra frames and smoothing out the transitions between those upscaled sections so that the final video plays back smoothly and naturally.
So it's like having a whole team of digital editors working behind the scenes. They're like, perfect every frame. That's pretty wild. Okay, so we've talked about like all this cool tech, but how do you actually teach MovieGen to like be a good filmmaker?
Yeah, that's a really good point, because it's not like you can just hand it a textbook on directing.
Right.
It all comes down to data. Just like a human filmmaker learns by watching and studying like countless hours of film, MovieGen needs to be trained on massive amounts of high-quality video data.
So you can't just like feed it a bunch of random YouTube clips?
No, it has to be very specific. And the researchers emphasize over and over again how important it is to have accurate and detailed captions for each video clip during training.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In fact, they were so dedicated to this that they trained a completely separate AI called Llama 3 Video, just to write those captions.
So they hired a team of writers to teach their AI how to make movies.
Pretty much.
That's amazing. Okay, so we've talked about creating videos from scratch, but there's this other thing, MovieGen Edit, which is the AI video editor. How does that work?
So basically, you can give MovieGen Edit a video and then give it text instructions on what you want to change.
Right.
So you want to add a flock of birds flying across the sky, no problem. Or you want to replace that boring car in the background with a sleek sports car. Easy peasy.
It's like having a Hollywood-level editing bay in your laptop?
Yeah.
But how? How does it know how to do that realistically?
So it goes through rigorous training on image editing data. So it learns how different edits should actually look and feel within the context of a moving image. And it even uses this fancy technique called back translation.
Back translation, okay.
Yeah.
Now you're just using big words
Sorry.
to make me feel dumb.
Basically, imagine you describe an edit you want to make. And then the AI translates that description into a series of image changes, and then back again. It helps the AI really understand the relationship between your words, the visual edit, and how that edit should play out over time, not just on a single frame.
So you're teaching it to think like a video editor. Okay.
Okay.
That makes sense. Okay, so we're talking about AI making movies. How do you even begin to judge if a video is good or not?
That's a great question. And it's one that the researchers really grappled with as well, because it's not as easy as just saying like, oh, this video looks good or this one doesn't.
Right.
So they actually brought in humans to evaluate the videos generated by MovieGen.
Okay.
Using a few different criteria.
So it's like a panel of movie critics. But for AI, I like it.
So,
what kind of things are they looking for?
So first and foremost, they look at something called text alignment, which is basically just making sure that the AI understood the assignment.
Okay.
Did it create a video that actually matched what the text prompt was asking for?
So like if you say cat riding a unicycle, there better be a cat riding a unicycle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They also looked at the overall visual quality. And this goes beyond just like, is it HD or not? They considered things like the consistency of the images over time, how natural the motion looked, whether there were any weird glitches or artifacts.
So it's not enough to just be like technically high definition. It needs to like feel real, believable, like something I'd actually want to watch.
Right.
Okay. What else?
And then finally, they took into account the realism and aesthetics of the videos. And this is where things get a little bit more subjective.
Yeah.
But basically, they were looking at whether the videos were believable and visually appealing.
Okay. So did they just like show these videos to their friends and be like, hey, what do you think of this?
It was more official than that. They actually used like a standardized evaluation process. So they brought in people who didn't know which videos were made by AI and which ones were real. And they had them rate the videos on all those different criteria that we talked about.
Oh, so it's like a blind taste test.
Exactly.
But for AI videos.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Did they compare MovieGen to like any of the other AI video generators out there?
Yeah, absolutely. They wanted to see how it stacked up against the competition. So they looked at things like Runway Gen 3 Luma Labs, OpenAI, Sora, you know, all the big names. And based on those human evaluations, MovieGen actually held its own pretty well, especially when it came to creating really natural and consistent motion.
Okay, so no like awkward robot movements.
Yeah.
Nothing like teleporting across the screen.
Exactly. Like the human evaluators found that MovieGen was really good at maintaining that consistency over time, so you wouldn't see things like objects changing shape or color randomly between frames. which can sometimes happen with these AI-generated videos.
Yeah, it's always those little things that kind of take you out of the moment. Like, wait a minute, did that lamppost just move?
Exactly.
Okay, so MovieGen sounds pretty impressive, but it's got to have some weaknesses, right? Nothing's perfect.
You're right. There's always room for improvement. And one area where they're still working on is generating really realistic human movement, especially in those personalized videos where you're like putting someone's face into the scene.
Right.
We've all seen those deepfake videos where something just looks a little off about the way the person's moving.
Oh.
It's those subtle nuances that are really hard for AI to capture.
It's like trying to copy someone's handwriting. You can get the letters right, but the flow and the pressure is just different. Right. But hey, if they've come this far, who knows what they're going to figure out in the next couple of years? Maybe we'll all be watching AI-generated movies soon.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But even with all the amazing progress that we're seeing in AI, this research really highlights that. When it comes to truly evaluating like a realistic video, especially those nuances of motion and aesthetics, human judgment is still king.
So no robot film critics anytime soon?
Not yet.
Okay, good to know. There's still hope for us humans.
There's still hope.
Okay, so let's say MovieGen just keeps getting better and better.
Right.
What does this mean for the future of filmmaking? Are we all going to be out of a job?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
But honestly, I think it's more about collaboration than replacement. Like, imagine using AI as a tool to help filmmakers realize their visions more easily.
Okay.
So instead of spending weeks on special effects, you can have AI generate a first draft in a matter of hours. Or think about personalized movie experiences, where the AI can actually adjust the storyline or the characters based on your preferences.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it'd be like a choose-your-own-adventure, but like a movie.
Exactly.
That's cool. And I could also see it being a really cool tool for education.
Absolutely.
Imagine students being able to like interact with historical figures in a personalized video setting, or like visualize complex scientific concepts in a way that's actually engaging.
Yeah, the possibilities are pretty much endless.
It's kind of mind-blowing.
It is.
Like, it's really moving fast.
It really is.
Well, on that note, I think this has been an amazing deep dive into AI and filmmaking. We started with a single research paper, and we ended up talking about like the future of storytelling. Yeah,
it's amazing where these conversations can go.
And the future of movies. So thank you so much for joining me on this journey.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And to all of our listeners out there, thank you for listening. And remember, if you're ever curious about the how behind the headlines, you know where to find us.
Until next time. Okay, so picture this. You're at the beach, just chilling, soaking up the sun, and suddenly, out of nowhere, a bright blue emu comes paddling by in the waves. Like, what?
It's that kind of wild, impossible image, you know, the kind our brains cook up so effortlessly. But it's not just picturing it. It's instantly getting how it could work. Even if it makes zero sense in the real world, that's what makes us so good at imagining things.
Which brings us to today's deep dive. We're tackling Meta's MovieGen. We're talking AI that can make videos from just text prompts, and trust me, we're going to break down how this is different from those AI video makers you've probably already seen. We got the research papers, example videos, the whole shebang, so let's jump right in.
You're spot on about it not being just another asterisk AI making videos. Meta's MovieGen is more like a team of specialized models working together, and the real game changer here is how they trained it. Imagine feeding an AI millions, and I mean millions of images, asterisk and asterisk videos from all over the internet, not just some hand-picked collection. That's what MovieGen was raised on, and it's how it starts to see the world more like, well, us.
So not just matching keywords to stock footage like some basic AI. It's more like MovieGen got a crash course in filmmaking, picking up everything from camera angles to how objects should move.
You got it. It's learning those subtle things. And that's where those specialized models come in. MovieGenVideo is the real workhorse. You give it a text prompt and boom, it spits out an HD video that's high definition, by the way, crystal clear footage.
So no more blurry messes that look like they were filmed on a flip phone from the 90s. I'm with you.
Exactly. And what blows my mind is that MovieGenVideo actually started out as an image generating AI. They basically leveled it up by feeding it video data, and it kinda, sorta taught itself how to make things move naturally in those videos. It's like it went from taking still photos to directing full-on action sequences.
Hold on. Are you saying they just like gave it a promotion and it just figured it out? Because that's both mind-blowing and a tad terrifying.
But there's more to it than just the visuals, right? It's not like we're stuck with silent films here. You're preaching to the choir, we got to talk about the audio. That's where MovieGen Audio struts onto the stage. This model doesn't just slap on some random background music. It actually watches the video, analyzes it, and then creates sound effects, asterisk, and asterisk music that perfectly fit the mood and the action happening on screen.
So if there's a crazy car chase going on, we're not going to hear some peaceful flute solo in the background.
You nailed it. MovieGen Audio gets that audio is key to making a video truly captivating. It can even create soundtracks way longer than the videos it was initially trained on. They call it audio extension.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like it's composing original scores, not just copying what it's heard before.
This is already making my head spin a little.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered visuals, we've covered audio, but let's get real. What can you actually do with MovieGen right now?
So right now, you can give MovieGen a text prompt like, a cat wearing sunglasses rides a skateboard through a crowded park. And it'll actually make a short video that brings that to life, you know? Meta's research is saying the quality of these videos, it's already better than some of the big names out there in AI video generation.
Okay, so hold on. We're talking better asterisk than what's already out there.
Yeah.
Because there's some seriously impressive AI video tools already. You've got Runway Gen and, of course, OpenAI's Sora. Everyone's hyped about that one. So how does MovieGen stack up against those heavy hitters?
Yeah, it's tough to do a head-to-head comparison because each AI has its own thing, you know, its strengths and what it's not so great at. Meta even says that in their research. But they're really highlighting some areas where MovieGen just, like, blows the competition out of the water.
All right, well, don't leave us hanging. What are those magical areas where MovieGen's the reigning champ?
One of the biggies is realism. And by that, I mean how natural the movements look, you know, how smooth the animation is, and crucially, how few of those little AI glitches you get, like objects suddenly warping into something else or just vanishing.
Right, because nothing screams, this is fake. Like a car morphing into a floating teapot midway through a scene.
Exactly. It's those tiny details that make or break the illusion. Another thing MovieGen nails is faithfulness to the prompt. You can get an AI to make a gorgeous video, sure, but does it actually match what you asked asterisk for in the text? That's the real test.
So it's not just about being artsy, it's about being a good listener, understanding what the user wants, and then delivering on that. That's a whole other level.
100%. And this ties into something else. Meta's really pushing aesthetics. MovieGen isn't just about being technically brilliant. They wanted to make sure the videos are actually beautiful to look at.
Got it. So it's not just a robot cranking out videos. There's a bit of an artistic eye in there, too. But here's the big question. What does all this mean for the future of filmmaking? What about those of us who aren't, like, tech wizards? How does this impact asterisk?
Now, that's where things get really interesting. Just imagine anyone, even if they don't know the first thing about video editing, could create amazing, high-quality videos. We're talking about giving everyone the power to be a filmmaker.
Whoa, that's like everyone gets their own mini Hollywood studio. No more needing a huge budget or a team of special effects gurus.
Yeah.
This kind of feels like when desktop publishing first came out suddenly, anyone could make a brochure or a newsletter. And now we're talking about anyone being able to make awesome videos.
Exactly. And don't forget MovieGen's ability to personalize stuff, putting real people into videos. Imagine what that could do to social media. No more just static pics, your feed's full of custom-made videos, maybe even starring, well, asterisk, you know, asterisk.
Okay, that's like next level, cool, but also kind of makes my head spin. I'm already picturing those what people think I do memes, but as personalized MovieGen videos. The possibilities are endless. But seriously, with this kind of tech, we got to talk about the potential downsides too, right?
Yeah.
It's like every time we turn around, there's some crazy new AI doing something we thought was, like, impossible. Makes you wonder what's next.
Right. Definitely makes you think, if AI can already make videos this good, what's it going to be cranking out in 5-10 years? It's kind of messing with our whole idea of creativity.
Because there's always going to be those people who say, AI, creative, nah, it's just copying. It's not asterisk, really, asterisk thinking. But MovieGen, it feels different, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's actually pushing the boundaries.
It's like, are we even sure what creativity really asterisk means asterisk anymore? Is it about coming up with something totally new out of thin air? Or is it more about taking what's already out there and finding a fresh, cool way to use it? Because that's what AI is doing, and it's getting scary good at it.
So where does that leave all the human artists? The filmmakers, the musicians, the storytellers? Are we all out of a job soon, replaced by AI robots with editing software?
I don't think it's about replacing us at all. It's more like AI is giving us a new way to create. Think of it as a partnership, you know? AI handles the boring stuff, the repetitive tasks, and that frees asterisk up to focus on the really important things, the story, the emotion, the message we want to get across.
It's like, yeah, you can paint a picture by hand or you can use digital art software. Both work.
Yeah.
But the tools totally change the game.
Exactly. At the end of the day, it's still the human touch that matters. AI might make the pretty pictures, but it's asterisk are asterisk stories, asterisk are asterisk experiences that give them soul.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of MovieGen, it's obvious this isn't just some random new tech. It's like a sneak peek into a future where the lines between what humans create and what AI creates, well, those lines are getting blurry. And honestly, that future looks kind of awesome.
It really does, but it's also a future that needs us to pay attention, to be smart about it, to use these tools responsibly, because like we talked about, there's huge potential for good here, but we got to be aware of the ethical stuff too.
So all you listeners out there, we want to hear from you. How do asterisk see AI changing filmmaking, storytelling, even just creativity in general? Hit us up because this conversation is just getting started. And until next time, keep those imaginations running wild. Ever scroll through social media and think, hold on, what if that was me? You know, like, picture yourself in one of those crazy videos, the ones that make you look twice.
Yeah, the ones that make you wonder if they're even real anymore.
Exactly. Well, get this. Meta's new AI tech, it's called MovieGen, and it might just make that a reality. You, in a video, doing things you've never actually done asterisk.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild idea when you really think about it. Like, where does the real even begin anymore, you know?
No kidding. And, well, you were kind enough to share some seriously in-depth research with me on this MovieGen thing. And honestly, there's a asterisk to unpack. We're not talking about just one asterisk AI here, are we?
It's true. It's not just one AI. It's like almost easier to think of it as a whole team of them all working together, like a film crew or something.
Okay, yeah, I'm seeing that now. So where do we even start with something like this?
Oh, well, if we're talking about your asterisk starring in these videos, probably the best place to start is with the personalized MovieGen video model. That's the one that could, theoretically anyway, put you right there in the action.
Okay, now the asterisk is what I'm talking about. That's the part that really caught my eye too. So how does it even work? Is it like as simple as just pasting my face onto someone else?
No. It's way more advanced than that. Okay, so imagine for a second there's a video of, I don't know, someone dancing, right? Now picture the AI isolating just how asterisk that person moves, like their style, and then taking that style and applying it to a completely different video.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, like imagine taking that dance style and putting it onto a figure skater instead.
No way.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's not just a face swap, but like the AI learns how asterisk move and then basically turns me into a stunt double, but virtual.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. They call it cross-paired data. Basically, the AI learns to animate a person, you, from one video, and then it syncs that up with the movements from a totally different video. It's how they're trying to get past that weird copy and pasted look you sometimes get with the less advanced AI stuff.
Makes sense. Although, honestly, it kind of makes you wonder, if someone showed me a video made with this, would I even know it wasn't actually me?
Yeah.
It's a bit unnerving, to be honest.
It really is kind of a mind trip when you let yourself go there. And that's just one asterisk piece of this whole MovieGen thing.
All right, we got a whole cast of AI to meet here.
Yeah.
So what else is going on behind the scenes with this technology? So we've got this AI learning to move like a real person, but what about the video itself?
Yeah, how does it go from there to an actual video?
Exactly. What's the main attraction in this MovieGen production?
Well, that would be MovieGenVideo. It's the model that actually generates the footage, and the scale of this thing, it's insane. We're talking a 30 billion parameter model.
Okay, hold on. For the folks like me who aren't fluent in AI, what does that even mean? Yeah, 30 billion of what?
Think of it this way. Each parameter is basically a tiny little calculation that the AI makes. It's a connection that it's learned.
Okay.
So 30 billion of those. It's massive, even compared to earlier AI models, which means a asterisk of processing power is going into these videos.
So MovieGenVideo, working with all this data to create these images, but if it's all behind the scenes, then how does it get from like ones and zeros to something we can actually watch?
That's where the really smart part comes in. So instead of creating this super high definition video directly, what MovieGenVideo does is it actually works with a asterisk compressed asterisk version, which is just way more efficient for the AI to handle.
So creating a rough draft first, then polishing it up later.
Exactly. And to get that final polished look, they use something called a spatial upsampler, which basically takes that compressed video data and, well, upscales it.
Gotcha.
To create the high-definition footage that we end up seeing.
That is amazing. And I have to imagine, even with all of this, there's got to be some hiccups along the way, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's still early days. And one interesting thing I saw, I think they called it a spot artifact.
A spot artifact.
Yeah, like a little visual glitch that they're still trying to work out. And it's kind of fascinating because it's basically the AI trying to take shortcuts.
So even with all that power, it's still trying to cut corners.
In a way, yeah, it shows how even with billions of parameters, the AI is still asterisk learning.
Wow.
Trying to figure out how to do things the most efficient way. And sometimes those shortcuts, well, they lead to these little imperfections, these spots.
That's fascinating to me. It's almost like, it's a good reminder that even the smartest AI, it's still artificial, right?
Definitely.
It's not perfect, makes mistakes, just like us.
Exactly. And those imperfections, they can actually tell us a lot. They give us a glimpse into how the AI is processing information where it's still got some learning to do.
That's really cool. Okay, so we've got our virtual actors, we've got our AI director calling the shots on the visuals, but something's missing, right? Like, what about the soundtrack? No movie's complete without a good score.
You're totally right. Sound is crucial, and that's where MovieGen audio comes in.
MovieGen audio.
Another AI model. Yeah, this one specifically designed to work hand in hand with the video generation.
So it can make sound effects and stuff that actually, match what's happening.
It does that, and more. We're talking realistic sound effects, asterisk, and asterisk music, all generated by the AI. And get this, it can even tell the difference between what's happening asterisk in asterisk the video, like in the world of the video, versus what's added on top.
Hold on. Can you get a little more on that last part? What's happening asterisk in asterisk the video versus on top? What does that even mean?
Okay, so imagine for a second a scene where someone is walking through a forest, right? The sound of their footsteps crunching on the leaves, the birds chirping. Those are sounds that exist asterisk within asterisk, the world of that video, right?
Okay.
That's called diegetic sound.
Diegetic sound. Got it. So what's an example of the on top stuff?
Okay, so same forest scene, but now there's this really spooky soundtrack playing in the background. That music, that's not coming from the forest itself. It's been added in later to create a certain atmosphere. That's what we call non-diegetic sound.
Ah, okay. So you're telling me this MovieGen audio, not only can it create realistic sound effects, but it can basically compose a whole soundtrack on its own.
Exactly. It's like having an AI sound engineer who just asterisk gets asterisk how important sound is to a movie.
That's incredible and a little scary, honestly. It's like we're building a whole virtual film studio here.
Yeah, it's true.
With AI taking on every role.
That's a great way to put it, and the more you learn about each part of it, the more impressive the whole system becomes.
For sure. Okay, so we've covered asterisk of ground here. We've got AI generating realistic video, mimicking human movement, even making soundtracks. But where does this all go? What's the bigger picture here with MovieGen? It's almost like, I don't know, a little overwhelming when you think about it. Like at a certain point, this is AI that can make asterisk movies asterisk now.
Yeah, it's true.
What does that even mean for, the future of filmmaking?
It's a huge question, and honestly, I'm not sure anyone really has the answer yet, but one thing I keep thinking about is, the potential for, I don't know, democratization.
Democratization? What do you mean by that?
Well, right now, making, really high-quality video content, it requires specialized skills, expensive equipment, you name it.
Right.
It takes a lot, but MovieGen, this has the potential to change that.
So what you're saying that, anyone could be a filmmaker now?
Imagine, someone has this amazing idea for a movie, right? But they don't have a budget, don't have a crew, any of that. MovieGen could change that. It could give them the tools to actually make asterisk it.
That's pretty amazing when you think about it, the stories that could be told.
Yeah, exactly. And from people who, maybe wouldn't have had the chance otherwise.
That's a really exciting thought. But like any new tool, there's got to be some potential downsides here, right?
Oh, for sure. There are always going to be downsides. For example, just the potential for misuse.
Yeah, the potential for misuse.
Well, what happens when this tech gets into the wrong hands, Even with the AI stuff we've already got.
Oh, right. Even with simpler stuff.
People trying to use it to manipulate others, spread misinformation, all of that.
Yeah, like the whole deepfake thing. It's scary how real that stuff can look.
Exactly. And with MovieGen, I don't know, it's like taking that to a whole other level. And then there's the artistic side of it all, too.
Oh, right. Like, what about the art of filmmaking?
Yeah, like if AI can generate entire movies, what does that even mean for human creativity, you know?
That's a really good question.
Will we even be able to tell the difference at some point? Like, is this a movie made by a person or by an algorithm?
It's a little bit of a scary thought, isn't it? Like losing that human touch.
Yeah, it is. And it brings up all these questions about, like, what does it even mean to be creative anymore?
Right, right.
But, you know, I'm an optimist. I think human ingenuity, it always finds a way. We adapt.
We find a way.
We evolve. We find new ways to express ourselves.
So maybe instead of replacing us, this pushes us to think differently about things.
Yeah.
Like we find new ways to be creative, explore new frontiers, all of that.
I think that's a real possibility. And it's important to remember AI, it's a tool at the end of the day.
Okay.
And it's up to us to decide how we're going to use it, to shape its development, make sure it's actually benefiting us, you know?
Yeah, it's a powerful tool for sure. And like any powerful tool, it comes with a lot of responsibility. It kind of makes you think of all those sci-fi movies where the AI takes over.
Right.
Hopefully we're smart enough to avoid that whole situation.
Let's hope so. But on a less scary note, think about all the good asterisk things this could mean for education, entertainment, even just something like video calls.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Imagine, like, instead of just seeing your friend in their living room, you could both be on a virtual beach somewhere.
Uh-huh. That'd be pretty cool. I'd be down for that.
Right. It's like we're right on the edge of this whole new way of experiencing things, both real and, well, you know, imagined.
And that's really what it comes down to with this MovieGen thing, right? Yeah. It's more than just, oh, cool, look what AI can do now. It's really a window into what the future might hold. And it's closer than we think.
For sure, a future that's full of possibilities, both good asterisk and asterisk bad. The decisions we make asterisk now, asterisk will shape how that future unfolds.
No pressure then.
Yeah.
But really, if there's one thing to take away from this whole conversation, this deep dive, it's that things are about to get really, really interesting. The future of video, the future of storytelling, the future of, I don't know, reality itself. It's all up for grabs.
That's a great way to put it.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.